a new breakdown video of German gun camera footage showing an attack on a B-17 flying fortress. At first, you will see the original footage with timestamps, without any commentary. After that, I start my breakdown and tell you what you can see and what may have happened inside the B-17. You can jump to 1 minute and 14 seconds when my breakdown starts, if you already know the original footage. So let's take a look at the footage. Alright, let's start with the breakdown. Right at the beginning, the German fighter is attacking the B-17 from the 5 o'clock low position. You can see a small fire in the left wing and a hit in the B-17 tail gunner's position. The tail gunner starts firing. You can see smoke trails from his guns. The attacking German fighter is not in his field of fire. The tail gunner is probably firing at another German fighter. At 3 seconds, another hit in the tail gunner's position. Small puffs of smoke, self-destruction of 20mm cannon shells from the German fighter can be seen around the B-17. Another burst from the tail gunner, and German fighter seems to stop firing for about half a second. From 5 seconds to 7 seconds. More puffs of smoke from self-destruction of 20mm cannon shells. Tail gunner opens fire. You can see the flash from his guns. Or it could be hit here by 20mm cannon shell. The German fighter appears to be in the field of fire of the tail gunner at this time, near the B-17's 5 o'clock low position. You can see the trailing smoke from the guns. The tail gunner continues firing his guns. The bomb bay doors are closed, and more puffs of smoke from exploding cannon shells. A bright flash appears in the tail section. From 8 seconds to 9 seconds. Smoke from tail guns. Tail gunner possibly still at his position and firing his guns. The small fire in the left wing is still burning. A bright flash appears in the tail section once again, and a dark object can be seen falling from the B-17. The tail gunner is still firing at that time. The piece mentioned just before is falling slowly. I think it looks more like a crewman than a piece of debris. If so, possibly from the nose hatch, because the bomb bay doors are closed. The German fighter is still firing at the B-17 at the 10th second of the footage. No visible hits on the B-17. From 11 to 13 seconds. Are these projectiles from the tail gunner's machine guns? Tail gunner fires again. Seems still alive. A hit on the edge of the right horizontal stabilizer. And it could be a hit in the tail. At 14 seconds. Flash from tail gunner position. Unclear if he is firing or being hit by the German fighter plane, but you can see smoke coming from the tail gunner's position. From 15 to 16 seconds. Can't see any trailing smoke from the ball turret since the beginning of the attack. Possibly inoperational, in one way or another. Here is a clearer frame from the footage. Engines of the B-17 are still running. No propeller is feathered. No smoke from the engines or large fire, except the smaller one at the left wing. Bomb bay doors are closed. B-17 gets hit beneath the tail. Looks like a hit close to the tail gunner's escape hatch. It also gets hit on the vertical stabilizer. From 17 seconds onwards, the tail gunner doesn't appear to fire anymore until the end of the footage. Maybe he was wounded or killed. At the 18th second of the footage, the German fighter is still firing at the B-17, but there are no visible hits. From 19 to 20 seconds. From the perspective of the German fighter plane, the B-17 still looks fine and no signs of any trouble, even with a small fire on the left wing. But the situation for the B-17 and her crew will change drastically in the next few seconds. It seems that a fire has started in the waist section. Possibly an oxygen tank was hit and caught fire. Flash from the tail gunner's position, followed by smoke. At 21 seconds, the German fighter seems to stop firing for about half a second again. At 22 seconds, the B-17 gets hit beside the tail gunner's compartment, possibly the horizontal stabilizer, and another hit. Looks like a hit in the fuselage. A projectile from the German fighter appears to fly away here, and smoke comes from the tail of the B-17 after it was hit moments ago. A bright light appears. Tail gunner's compartment seems to be on fire for a few seconds. From 23 to 27 seconds. Hit in the right wing. Hit in the tail. Another 2 hits on the right side. The bright light in the tail gunner's compartment disappeared. The trailing smoke coming from the fuselage is clearly visible now. The B-17 gets hit multiple times near the right wing root, and the German fighter stops shooting. At 28 seconds, the German fighter opens fire again 1 second later. A crewman is coming out. More details on this later. A hit underneath the fuselage, and the smoke from the fuselage gets worse. The B-17 gets multiple hits from 30 seconds to 32 seconds. A small fire becomes visible at the engine number 4 nacelle, and pieces fell off from the B-17. Moments later, the B-17 gets hit on the horizontal stabilizer, the ball turret, and just behind the engine number 3. The German fighter also appears to be in the field of fire of the B-17's top turret gunner, but there's no visible return fire from the top turret. At the end of the gun camera footage, you can still see the heavy smoke coming from the fuselage, and little smoke from the right wingtip. The German fighter breaks off at the end of his attack, and you can see all the engines of the B-17 are still running, except engine number 2, which is obscured by the tail fin. That was my breakdown of the gun camera footage. All that happened in 36 seconds. 36 seconds of relentless air war. Now it's time for some additional information and thoughts. First of all, I can't make out any markings on the B-17. That means to me, the incident happened before markings were introduced on the vertical fin and right wing in late June 1943, or it was a B-17 of the 12th Air Force, later the 15th Air Force. Their B-17s did not have markings on the right wing. Secondly, was it really a fire caused by oxygen tanks? According to the YouTube channel World War II US Bombers, the US Army Air Forces used low-pressure oxygen tanks with working pressure of approximately 400 pounds per square inch. These oxygen tanks show no tendency to burn and do not explode when hit. So, the fire must have had another cause or multiple reasons. Now let's take a closer look at the short clip at around 9 seconds. Here is what I believe to be the first man coming out of the B-17. At first glance, it looks like an aircraft part, but it could absolutely be a crewman. If so, he most likely bailed out through the nose hatch. Usually, the bombardier and navigator would use the nose hatch to leave the aircraft. More interesting, however, is the second man, at around 28 seconds. In my opinion, the crewman did not bail out of the aircraft. The bomb bay doors are closed, so it is unlikely that anyone left the aircraft from there. The man appears to fall from the position where the board turret is located, and that is what we can observe here in the footage. He was probably killed or seriously wounded in the attack before, and that explains why the board turret gunner didn't shoot at the German fighter since the beginning of the footage. I believe that he was shot out of his board turret without his chute. It happened many times.